Today we are talking about 10 weird things that have happened at Disney. From pancake races to the Red Hot Chili Peppers to bra shop. What's up? Happy New Year and welcome back to JVTV. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this JVTV Disney history lesson. We got a lot of weird things to talk about. At number 10, and these are in no particular order by the way, is the Pancake Race. Yes, pancake races happened on Main Street at Disneyland from 1957 to 1964. The known brand Quaker Oats partnered with Disney on this event. Basically just had participants running down Main Street flipping pancakes and a pan. Yep, this really happened. Winners would then qualify for the national races. The national pancake races. That's a whole video even of itself. Now you might be wondering, what do you get if you win the pancake race at Disneyland? Well, $100. Which back then, somebody do the inflation calculations in the comments, but you won $100. That's honestly more than I thought they were going to give you. Now, I couldn't get quite the answer that if you were flipping your pancake and dropped it, if you were disqualified or just had to stop there and pick up the pancake. I would think it was a DQ that you were disqualified, but I could not get a for sure answer, therefore I can't say. Now, when would this event take place? Well, on National Pancake Day, of course, September 26th. I don't know why I started this list with this. I may be a little hungry and I have not eaten yet today. But all I can think about is how was that like? Did people like line up? Today, if people lined up for a pancake race, people would be like, is there a parade? Is there a parade? Where's Mickey? Could you imagine that? You just show up to Main Street, you're like, oh, a parade's coming, here comes Mickey, kids get ready, and it's just people flipping a pancake. I don't know if I'd be disappointed or happy. I think I'd be happy. What is going on? Number 9, and again, this is in no particular order because any of these could be 1 or 10. Number 9 is that there are human skulls and skeletons on Pirates of the Caribbean. In 1967, when Pirates was becoming a thing in Disneyland, their fake skeletons were deemed not convincing enough due to the technology at the time, with Pirates of the Caribbean costing more than Disneyland Park itself. And it costs a lot of money. What it costs in today's day and age with the inflation and everything would be over $100 million. But they needed to make sure the skeletons were convincing, so they got real human remains from UCLA Medical Center. Now, technology is a lot better than it was in 1967, and Disney says all of those human remains were removed. But there is a theory that there's at least one human skull in there. How true is that? I don't know. I can't really tell. But it's kind of wild to think back to the fact that you were going down on that ride and like their skeletons were just real people, real dead people. That is a weird thing, which is why it's on my list of 10 weird things that have happened at Disney. And you know what? I like the rumor that there's still a real human one in there. There's a bunch of different theories online. You can Google it. There's like 4 different theories about which one is the real one still. Side sources say that it is the real one. You know, every one of them says that. But you be the judge. Hop on the ride. Look at some ride footage. You tell me you think there's real skeletons on there. Now, I want to make this clear, by the way. This is Disneyland only. Disney World has always had fake skeletons. Allegedly. I don't know. Next time you ride Pirates in Disneyland, you tell me. Not the only time we're going to be talking about human remains on a Disney ride. Stay tuned. Number 8, you all may know this one, but we're going to talk about it. And that's when a bear was on the loose in Magic Kingdom. Not a country bear, a live bear. This happened in September of 2023. Now listen to all the attractions that this bear closed. The Railroad, Swiss Family Treehouse, Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean, Big Thunder Mountain, Magic Carpets of Aladdin, Hall of Presidents, Haunted Mansion, the Tiki Room, and Country Bear. Duh. Now, all of these rides were closed until noon for the safety of the guests. Could you imagine coming to Rope Drop Magic Kingdom and ready to go and having a full plan, and all you can go in is Fantasyland and Tomorrowland? Magic Kingdom crowds. All right there. I mean, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train must have been 4 hours. Space Mountain probably 3.5. People Mover probably 40 because a bear was on the loose. Now apparently he was in a tree, potentially by Big Thunder, potentially by Tom Sawyer, but for the safety they kept that all off so animal control could do their thing, which they did, and they safely rescued the bear and released him into the wild somewhere else in Florida, well away from Disney World. Could you imagine being that close to a Disney pretzel or a Dole Whip and getting just ripped out? You would think they'd give him one, right? Just give him one for the road so he could take it back to his bear pals. I don't know. What am I even talking about? On to number 7. The next 3 are all going to be different shops that were once available at Disney. Number 7 is an intimate shop. Also known as the Wizard of Bras. First of all, phenomenal name for an intimate shop. We gotta talk about that. Phenomenal name. Wizard of Bras. I'm sure there's some sort of wicked Wizard of Oz copyright that they got ripped of that. But why? If that was, you know how malls are like falling apart right now, that like you go into a mall and there's like kind of a JCPenney and like just an escape room, like a kickboxing thing, and just things that should never be in malls. Like when I remember malls, I remember it as just all these stores. You put the Wizard of Bras in a mall, maybe malls make a comeback. Listen, I don't wear bras, okay? Don't wear bras. But if I were, I don't even know what I'm saying. Going to purchase said bra, the number one place I would want to go, forget Victoria's Secret, I'm going to the Wizard of Bras. At a front porch for the gentlemen to wait while the ladies shopped for their unmentionables. That is not a quote that I clearly did not make up that quote. That is a direct quote from the multiple articles I read about this. They opened for 1 year till 1956. Can't imagine the sales were that great. Don't think that was the number one priority on the ladies' minds when they went to Disneyland. In the store, this is a cool thing, in the store there was an exhibit on the history of bras. So you could go to the Wizard of Bras and learn the history of bras. Back then, before internet, that's a good thing to know. Did not last long. On to number 6. Number 6, and another weird shop that was available at Disneyland, was a tobacco shop. It says, do you smell the aroma of pipe tobacco? It's coming from the tobacco shop here at Main Street, USA. As your park guidebook says, you can buy tobacco and smoking accessories from around the world. As a souvenir for your day to take home from the park, bring home a handcrafted pipe and tin or pouch of the finest tobacco. Sorry, none of the products feature Disney characters. You lost me. If you're looking for cigarettes, you've also come to the right place. You keep them under the counter. Just ask for any of the popular brands. Don't forget to grab some complimentary Disney matchbooks. This is a real thing. This is a real thing that was a thing. I smoke cigars, okay? I smoke cigars in a celebratory manner, you know what I mean? When I pass a certain subscriber count, follower count, birthdays, graduations, stuff like that. Smoke cigars. Disney Springs had a cigar shop. And I walked by it, didn't really bother me because I smoke cigars. But the amount of times I walked by that and there would be families, my family, my friends going, oh my God, the smell. Why do they even have that here? And that was at Disney Springs. I know, different time. Couldn't imagine walking down Main Street and be like, oh, hey, you need some cigarettes? Want to grab a cigar? It's crazy. Now, you could puff on a cigarette when walking around the park, but not in an attraction or an attraction queue. The rest of the area, smoking. Now, I did grow up in a time, I remember being a kid, and there was a smoking and non-smoking section, so I'm sure even years and years before that, like this was more common, but it's crazy to think about today. Now you got to worry about kids in the dang vapes, vaping all over the park. There's the Main Street Vape Shop. This opened in 1955 as one of the original shops on Main Street, and I'm going to give you a second to guess when it closed. Ready? You have 5 seconds. In June 1990, I would have guessed the 60s as well, but it didn't close until 1990. Now, listen to everything that's moved in since. What moved in after the tobacco shop closed was Great American Pastime. Sold baseball cards and sports memorabilia till 1999. It was out with the old and in with the new, the 20th century. Sold Disney, CDs, and movies. I'm going to give you one more guessing game. What do you think it is today? You have 5 seconds. Disney Pin Shop. It sells Disney pins. Number 5, and the last of the shops on here, is a gun shop called the Frontierland Gun Shop. It's both an attraction and a store, as you could get a nice history lesson in weaponry. Buy yourself a fake gun. Now, there's not much to be able to find. Disney's tried to hide the fact that it had a gun shop there. There is a newspaper article from like somewhere back in the day I found about 2 teenagers who stole $1,300 worth of guns. Do you know how hard it must have been? How did they steal $1,300 worth of toy guns back then? $1,300! They must have just had duffel bags. Did they dress up as workers? How did that? I don't know. But they returned them and left an apology note. That's a real thing. Faded out of popularity quickly. Not as much as Wizard of Bras, but it lasted till some point in the 60s. And again, we don't really know because a lot of its history from Disney's end has been wiped. I remember, however, when I was a kid, and this is early 2000s, I think I bought a fake, was it a musket? Pirates of the Caribbean. Some sort of rifle and musket. I believe my aunt had to drive it from Florida to PA because we couldn't take it on the plane. I think that's true. I'll get back to you in the future. I'm pretty confident. I might have dreamt it, but I think it's real. Number 4, I just put this on the list because I thought it was funny. The Red Hot Chili Peppers had an overlay on Space Mountain. Not just Space Mountain 2, California Screamin'. So 2 roller coasters they had an overlay for in 2007. Were the Red Hot Chili Peppers that big of a deal? Were they that big of a deal? I don't know. I wasn't listening to them in 2007. I need people like you to tell me in the comments. But they had an overlay on 2 rides at Disney. Their cover of Higher Ground was used on Space Mountain, and Around the World was used on California Screamin', which is now the Incredicoaster. It was supposed to feel like you're in the middle of a concert. I guess similar to Rock and Roller Coaster, what it's like to go to the concert. There's a video of this on YouTube, so if you want to check it out, you can. But before you do that, I need you to comment. I think the Red Hot Chili Peppers should have had an overlay because I'm on the camp of this is just weird because they should have never even touched a Disney attraction. Number 3, there was a swimming pool on Main Street, USA. A permanent thing, this was just for a special event, and I'll tell you what it was. The pool was constructed on Main Street, USA for a special swim meet in 2004. 2004 Summer Olympics in Athens. Swimmers Michael Phelps, Lenny Krazelberg, and Ian Crocker embarked on a 12-city tour, part of Swim with the Stars. The last place they had it, Disneyland. According to coverage by Mouse Planet, the swimmers participated in a special 20-meter relay on Main Street with local youth swim champions in a swimming pool at Disneyland's Main Street. Now, it doesn't say if they beat them, but I would bet they did. They're Olympic swimmers. There's no way they went easy on them. To make this swim meet a reality, cast members constructed a swimming pool in less than 30 hours. The pool was 164 feet long, 24 feet wide, and 3.5 feet deep. 103,000 gallons of water in the pool, which was heated to 80 degrees for the swimmers. Weak. Disney World, you wouldn't have had a problem with that, man. Cool. Imagine walking to Main Street because, 2004, cell phones and stuff weren't, Twitter wasn't a thing, so you wouldn't have known. You just walk in, boom, swimming pool, Michael Phelps. That's pretty cool. Weird, but cool. Number 2 was that there used to be a wave machine in the Seven Seas Lagoon. In 1971, when the Polynesian was being constructed, the president of operations wanted to make surfing a thing at Disney World. Now, this was Disney's way of competing with all the beaches that are in Florida. Now, this was going to cost $500,000 and would have had to be done before the water was put into the Seven Seas Lagoon, but the vice president of ops would not take no for an answer. So they did it, and it worked. It worked. There was waves out there. Now, there's no really official thing of when it ended, but it did say that it was still going on in 1972, so it worked for at least a year. However, this didn't really work out. The first problem was the beaches there suffered from serious erosion from the waves. It was working actually too well. Another issue is the transportation around the lagoon, which makes sense. You think about the boats in the lagoon now, like how would they have been able to handle waves? That was probably such a pain. I've had problems where sometimes it would only work for like an hour or two a day to maybe a couple hours at a time, and then it would have to stop. So it didn't last too long. Now, it's said to have been removed, but there's also rumors that there's still parts of it left at the bottom, just left to rot. I would have loved to see it. I wish there was footage of it, but I'm glad it's not a thing anymore. One, I saved for number 1 because it is the weirdest one of all. And that's that people spread their family members' ashes on Disney rides. One of the most recent ones that was on here and had a picture of it was from March 17th, where somebody spread their ashes of a family member or loved one on Rise of the Resistance. And the picture you can see is just this ashy substance that's been run over by the ride cars and is just getting pushed everywhere. Don't know if that's where I'd want some of my remains to be. Just getting run over by Rise vehicles. But there's also countless stories from Haunted Mansion, specifically Pirates of the Caribbean, and all these other Disney rides that ashes are spread there. Now, it talks about how on Haunted Mansion they have a specific vacuum that just sucks up the ashes and then is disposed of. Is that where you want your family member to go, in a Haunted Mansion vacuum? It's such a persistent issue that it is illegal to do this at Disney World You will be pulled from the park and banned forever if you do this. Make it clear that human remains are considered a biohazard and require an intensive level of cleanup. So you will then close the ride down for a significant period of time. Don't do this. And this is a very weird thing to do. I couldn't imagine. Don't you want to be laid to rest somewhere peacefully? You ever walk around Disney World during busy times? There's nothing peaceful about it. It's chaos. We love the chaos. I don't want to be buried there. I don't want my remains there. That's a weird thing to do, man. And I can't imagine all these rides. So if you look down, you see an ashy substance, just know that's getting cleaned up and someone's getting the boot. Don't do it. Well, that's it. Those are 10 weird things that have happened at Disney. I'm sure I could do this again in the future. There's plenty of weird things. Maybe I'll do one where I look up people's stories. I don't know if there's true. There's no way to fact check it. But hey, watch, and I hope you enjoyed this JVTV history lesson, and I will see you next Thursday.